Welcome back. We got a brand new Quinnipiac poll. We call it the Q poll around here. It's the first one we've seen since last week's second round of Democratic debates. At 32%, Joe Biden still leading the Q polls pack. Elizabeth Warren is in second place, over 20%, sitting at 21. It's a big number, folks. Bernie Sanders, Harris, Pete Buttigieg round out the top five. Both Beto and Booker at 2%. That's a key qualification line for the next debate, but no one else hit 2. In that poll, including my next guest, Democratic Senator, presidential candidate Amy Klobuchar. She joins me now. Senator Klobuchar, welcome back. As rough of a week as we've had. Let me ask you this. You're watching, in the last 24 hours, more elected Republicans talk about a background check bill, expanding gun control than you've probably ever heard in your time in the United States Senate. Do you believe these calls are genuine?
I hope they are, because we know what happened in 2018, where we had a number of people win elections who were in favor of background checks, in favor of moving legislation to do something about the slaughter that we've seen from these gun massacres. And so I do hope that it's real, but we still haven't heard the ultimate word, which is the president pushing Mitch McConnell to call up the bill that is right on his doorsteps. So that's what I would like to see. We have worked on this for so long. I worked on it when I was in law enforcement. We worked on it after Sandy Hook, and people just never had the courage to get it done. This is the moment.
Assault weapons ban, I know you're for. I know Vice President Biden, his plan calls for a gun buyback program. Are you there on that as well?
Yes, I think that you'd want to do it hand in hand with the assault weapons ban. When you think about what happened in Dayton, Ohio, when you think about the fact that man with that gun, with the magazine of that capacity, that he was able to kill 9 people in just that short period of time, those kinds of guns shouldn't be sold on our streets. And we know that, and I think common sense tells people that. I come from a hunting state, and I've talked to a lot of our hunters about this. I look at all these proposals and say, does it hurt my Uncle Dick in his deer stand? I'm going to be in Iowa starting tomorrow morning on a 20-county tour on agriculture issues, but I will be talking about the gun issue as well, because I think part of this, it's easy to talk about this in some parts of our country, but I think we need to talk about it in every corner of our country, Chuck, if we're going to get the kind of support we need to actually pass these laws.
You know, it is not lost on me that I noticed that the president, on down his staff, some Republicans would much rather have the gun control conversation than they would the white nationalist conversation. Are you going to be comfortable, or Senate Democrats going to be comfortable if the president essentially says, okay, I'll do some gun stuff, but I'm not going anywhere near the white nationalism stuff? Do you take that deal?
Obviously, there has to be more done here. I was thinking of those words of Toni Morrison about how words can be used to heal. This president has used words as a dagger. This president has used words to divide people. And so as a former prosecutor that has prosecuted, my office prosecuted hate crimes, including a man that was killed, an attempt to kill a man on Martin Luther King Day. The guy said, I'm going to go out and go after a black kid, and he did. Luckily, the guy survived. But we handled a number of those cases, and I was there when Bill Clinton introduced the hate crimes bill as a young elected official because of the work I did. So when I listened to some of your experts, and it was a great show today, I think this. Number one, yes, because it was practical about these crimes. Yes, the president is a racist and the rhetoric is horrible. But we also have to look at what we can do within law enforcement. The FBI director testified last week and said that, we don't quite know why there is a rise in hate crimes. Well, we better figure that out. I have my own theories. Number two, you can up the investigations of these cases, and some of it's local law enforcement, helping them, giving them the resources. It may not be that they're part of a white nationalist group, but they start writing things online and putting out kill lists. Well, local law enforcement has to investigate those cases.
What's the line on
resources
speech
to do it?
What is the line on speech? So you think, but what are you concerned about in that front?
It's about whether or not you are trying to perpetrate a crime. violence. And there's our ways to draw those lines. But a lot of this has to do with upping those investigations, not just after the fact, but beforehand as well. And then there's things that we can do within the law to make sure it's very clear what things are hate crime, what are some of the, as you know, when you can, if you're convicted of a hate crime, that you shouldn't be able to get a gun. And there's all kinds of things we can do along those lines, along with the background checks and the assault weapon ban. But I think that this is a real call to law enforcement on both the local, state, and national level to make this a major focus. This has just been happening too many times.
There's been some calls to bring the Senate back. I'm sure you would love it for it to come back. Is that a realistic call? And is that something you think that enough pressure actually could get Mitch McConnell to do that?
I think it could. We are ready to go back. Our leader, Senator Schumer, has made that very clear. A number of us have said we'll, leave tomorrow morning and get there within a few hours. Let's get this done. That bill is sitting on his doorstep, so that could easily happen. And there's also things, by the way, one of the things I put out in my 100-day plan, what I could do as president. There's things you can do without Congress, like close the boyfriend loophole and start the research going at the Center for Disease Control. I think we need to start, in addition to condemning the rhetoric, we actually need to start doing the work so we can prevent this bloodshed from happening again.
It was interesting before the incidents over the weekend, these tragic incidents. The Democratic presidential primary suddenly looked like you guys were all attacking each other, to the point you started attacking the Obama administration, and you had a whole bunch of Democrats freaking out. No, I know, not you. No. And you had a whole bunch of Democrats freaking out that this thing was going to turn, and you're not focused on the task at hand, which is Donald Trump. Obviously, the weekend's events seem to sober up a whole bunch of Democrats.
Well,
how do you prevent this campaign from going back off of that ledge?
Well, I hope that there will be a sea change. I'm headed to the fall debates. I've made the criteria for both of the fall debates based on the polls and the number of the grassroots support we got. A lot of it coming out of the fact that I have focused my debate on going after taking this to Donald Trump and trying to make the case, which I think is strong, that what unifies us is much stronger than anything that divides us. And so instead of spending a half hour attacking each other on health care, I think the case has to be made that while we're doing that, this guy is trying to kick people off of their insurance for pre-existing conditions by trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act in Texas. Or he has said he's going to do things about pharmaceutical prices, and he hasn't done that. So yes, it is a sobering moment, but this moment is way beyond the politics of a Democratic primary, Chuck. And I think we have to remember that. I'm hopeful that we'll see a change going forward.
Well, that's the question I have, is that I think we'll see a change in tone in how you guys compete against each other. Senator Amy Klobuchar, thank you. Stay safe on the trail there in Iowa. Thanks very much. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.